Hey everybody, it's Barbara Russell going live with you today talking about it's just a numbers game. Have you ever heard that old phrase that says, age, it's just a number, baby? Well, there's other numbers that mean something or they don't. And I want to talk to you about that today. First of all, I want to talk about the number 7. And I want to talk about it in this light. Did you know that it takes 7 times on average for an addict, an alcoholic, a smoker to quit? That means there's 7 times that they go to the rehab center. There's 7 times that they say, this time I swear, I'm not going to do it again. This is over. It's over for good. Well, then they fall off the wagon, they blow it. But if they keep coming back and work toward that 7 times, they've got a chance, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. The other number I want to point out is the number 5. Did you know that it takes an average of 5 times for salespeople to close the sale? So that's why salespeople are regularly told, hey, there's 80% of you, it's not going to happen, because they're going to ask once, they're going to ask twice, and then they say, well, obviously those people aren't interested, but it's those 20% who keep going back for the 5 times. Those are the ones who's going to be raking in the dough, baby, because that's the number that they need to keep in mind. Well, now what number do you need to keep in mind, and how is this applicable to you? Well, let's take this for an example, the addict. Let's say they grew up in a very dysfunctional environment. There was drugs, there was alcohol, there was domestic violence, you name it, they had it, and they had it bad. So they never learned how to take responsibility. They had no one to show them as a role model how they need to live their life and make good decisions. And so what they learned was that you fight or you run. And if they feel overstressed or get in a situation they don't know how to handle, then they want to escape. And they started escaping in the bottle, in a cigarette, whatever that is, because they didn't learn anything differently. We want to talk about learning things differently, but you know what? Your environment doesn't have to be really dysfunctional. I remember Jane coming in and talking to me about, she was raised in a normal household, good values, she thought she was doing good, but she was struggling as an adult to speak her mind in a good way. Well, she started looking back and she realized that from her environment, she heard the messages like, oh, it's not ladylike to be pushy. Or even when she was young, children should be seen and not heard. Or she felt worthless because she tried to offer an opinion and nobody cared, nobody listened. And so she learned quickly, we absorb all those messages from our past that say, I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. And so it's difficult then when we as an adult, we come up, and I love this saying that someone gave me, and this plaque, it says, God would have never put that dream in your heart if he didn't want you to live it. Let me repeat that. God would have never put that dream in your heart if he didn't want you to live it. But you know what? If you try it once and you try it twice and it doesn't work and you're still not living it, could it be that you haven't played the numbers yet? You have to do it again and give it your best effort. Now, of course, I also have another saying, and you've probably heard me say it. If it doesn't work, do something different. So you say, how does that apply here? Here's the key. Have you really tried to make it work? It has to be a worthwhile effort. You know, we hear that saying that says, if you're bold enough to come up and knock on that door, it will open. Even the Bible says, ask, and it shall be given to you. Knock, and the doors will open. But just look at it. For most of us, hey, it takes a lot of courage to even get up to that door and knock. And then if we knock and that door doesn't open, we get discouraged, we get despondent, and we want to give up. And so we use whatever excuses, whether it's from our background or whatever. But if we will dust ourselves off and say, okay, it didn't work that time. Why didn't it work? And you learn something. You've learned that, hey, I need to do it a different way, or come at it from a different angle. Maybe you've learned, like the people who eventually stop drinking or smoking, you can't do it alone. It takes all of us. We are a team. And so as you learn those things, then that process of learning becomes the progress that you see. So I want to encourage you today. Hey, it may just be a number, baby, but you can use that to your advantage, to not give up and say, this is the first time I tried it, and this is what happened. You know, we do learn, unfortunately, from our failures. So I think that's why God puts that dream in our heart, but then he gives us obstacles so that we can meet those obstacles. We go over them, we go around them, whatever we need to do. We can do that because